art room, I will greet you with either a high five, a hug, or a smile. So today, I just wanted to show you all of what we'll be doing. Let me go ahead and turn our music down a little. Alrighty. So today we're gonna go ahead and try and draw some cartoon characters, which is something that I love to do. So we're gonna also learn about some elements and principles of art and how we can use those elements and principles of art when we're drawing cartoon characters. So what you're going to need today is you're going to need a paper and pencil, markers, crayons, or colored pencils, and your creativity, of course. So I also love to have a whiteboard. You know me. I always have a whiteboard in the art room. So if you have a whiteboard on you, it's always fun to draw with the whiteboard too. So all right. So first, let's go ahead and go over some of those elements of art. So you might be like, I feel like I've heard Birdy mention stuff about elements of art. So here's some of the elements of art. Okay, and these are like the little ingredients that make up art. Okay, so these are the things that we use to cook up a really good artwork. Okay. And so with that in mind, we have lines, okay? So we have squiggly lines, curvy lines and zigzag lines and thick lines and thin lines and dotted lines. Here, let me go ahead and get a little closer so that you can easily read that. Let's zoom in. All right. And so another thing that we have are shapes. Okay, so shapes are lines that are closed. Okay, so we have geometric shapes, and these are shapes that we know the name of. They're symmetrical, and they are, they have sides and they have points, except for circles. Circles don't really have any points, right? What's the point? So those are called geometric. Organic shapes are shapes that are not symmetrical, meaning we can't split them in half. Color, of course, is something that we're going to be using today. We're going to be using maybe some warm and cool colors. We're also thinking about complementary colors and some other things, and we'll talk more about that later. Okay, value. We're not going to really get into value today. We might get into some space. We're not really going to get into form today, but we might get into texture. Okay, so these are the elements of art. Okay, so first of all, we're going to have to think about what we want to draw. So let's get into our creative mindset. So let's get on our creativity. Okay, so if we're going to draw a cartoon, sometimes it helps to think about drawing a cartoon character about something we know. Maybe you might want to draw cartoons of your family. Maybe you're going to want to draw cartoons of your pets. Maybe you want to make a superhero. There's a lot of different options for us to make some different cartoons. Okay? You might have cartoons that you like to watch, right? And they have particular things like styles that they have. And those styles are are all gonna be kind of, you know, when you think about styles, you think, oh yeah, I recognize a character that's from SpongeBob, or I recognize a character that's from My Little Ponies, or LOL dolls, or whatever it is that you like right now, Pokemon, okay? But we want to make sure we are trying to be as original as possible, because we don't want to create a character that's just, you know, that's not ours. We want to make one for us, okay? Some things to think about is you want to keep things simple. And you might ask, like, why, Birdie? I like to make cool things with cool designs. Well, you know, when we're drawing a cartoon character, especially if we want to end up making it into a comic book, we want to be able to redraw those characters, okay? So, one way we can start to make something simple is we always start off with the same shape, okay? So let's go ahead and draw some shapes that we can start off with to make a body or a face, okay? So I think for myself, I'm gonna be drawing my pets as cartoons, because I think I've been watching my pets and they are so silly. Do you have pets that are so silly? I have 2 cats and they are very, very silly. And I have a dog who is very, very silly. So my cats are Kiki and Chell, and my dog is Butterscotch. And they're all very, very silly creatures. So I think that it would be fun to make a cartoon with those characters. Now you might be like, but Miss Birdie, I don't have any pets. That's okay. You can create your own thing. You can do whatever you want. You can make a person, you can make a family, you can do whatever you want, okay? We're trying to be nice and creative, okay? So I'm gonna do mine as pets. So let's start off by thinking about shapes, okay? And I like to start off with kind of a bean shape, okay? And this is gonna be the body, okay? So I start off with like a bean shape, right? Okay. And if I'm going to be creating a cat character, and I have to decide if my cat is going to be like a cat that looks like an actual cat, like a cartooned cat, or if my cat's going to be like a cat that wears like clothes and stuff like that. Okay. So I'm going to start off with drawing that bean. That's going to be the body. And I'm going to first start to practice drawing. And I'm going to draw a couple different things. That's why I kind of like having a whiteboard, because then I can draw a couple different things. But it's also nice for you to be drawing in your sketchbook, because you might come up with a couple different designs of your characters, okay? So I start off with a bean, and then I'm going to draw a head. Oh, that might be a little too big. I think I want it to be just a little smaller. Maybe I did like it the way that it was. Okay. So I'm going to be creating a cat character. Okay. And this cat, I'm going to first draw my cat Kiki. Okay. And when I'm thinking about Kiki the cat, okay, she has big ears. She has big eyes. Her legs are a little bow-legged. That means that they kind of stick out weird and funky because she broke her leg once. So, so when I'm thinking about drawing her ears, I'm gonna draw big ears, and I'm using kind of a triangle shape, right? And then I'm gonna draw her legs. I'm gonna make this character just like a, okay. So it's kind of like, they're kind of like little worms, okay? And now I notice that my little legs go over the body shape. So which line should I erase? Okay, should I erase this line or should I erase this line? I should erase this line. Okay. All right, so now I have kind of a shape. Okay, and it's so easy to create a cartoon character. Okay, and then of course I'm gonna add a tail, and I'm gonna draw a foot. Okay, and her little haunches. Okay, so then again I'm going to erase this part right here, and now I've got the basic shape of a cat, but this could be anybody's cat, right? So I really have to think about the character that I'm drawing. Okay, so she has big eyes, but also when I think about Kiki, Kiki has eyebrows that make her look very angry even though she's got big eyes. So I might draw big eyes like that, even though she's very nice. Okay, so that might be a good sketch for of Kiki to start off with. I might still add some more details. I might add this part of her ear and erase these parts right here. All right, so this is a good starting for my character, for my cat Kiki. Okay. Another thing that I'll probably want to do is add details to her because she's got eyebrows like that and she's got some spots on her. Okay, so these are all things that I might add later. Okay, but this, I'm still in practice mode, right? So if I were to draw Kiki, maybe I want to draw Kiki like a character that's standing up. Okay, start with that same shape, a bean shape. Maybe I would draw more of a neck for her and an oval head. Now that's too high. See, I can tell that that's a little too high. Okay, so I'm going to erase. All right. Now, if she were a character like standing up, maybe she'd have her hands up like this. Okay, we'd still be drawing okay, so I used almost like little worms, right? I've been playing a lot of the game Animal Crossing, so you can always get inspired by the things that you see around you, right? And the things that you like. So I'm drawing an outfit for her. Okay, so I drew her in a skirt. Okay, and then I'm gonna still draw the same, sort of a similar face. Because she kind of looks angry. And I like that face. So when I'm drawing those cartoon characters, I have to think about, like, what is it that when I'm drawing my cartoon character, can I draw it again? Okay, that's something. So we want to think about, like, okay, what shapes am I drawing with? Okay, so if I were to draw this again, I know that I started off with my bean shape. I did some little worm arms and legs. Okay, I've got an oval head. I've got sort of triangle ears. Okay, and when I drew her outfit, I drew circles for her shirt. I drew a little bit of a square that's kind of connected up here, so it's not quite a square, right? And then I added a little bit of details by adding lines, making her have like a little button-up shirt, okay? So think about the details that you can add that still keep things simple. Okay, so this might be a little not so simple for you. Maybe you might want to draw your cartoon not with such detail, okay? So this is, I think, some different designs I could do for Kiki. Once I'm like ready, once I've kind of practiced a few times, then I might go over to my sketchbook, okay? And we'll see, can I draw this again? That's always the trick with cartoons is, can you draw your character again? Okay, so I like the idea, I think it's kind of fun to have my cat Kiki be a cartoon character that's standing up, because she and my cat Chell maybe don't get along, so that can kind of create some fun stories. I can also talk about Butterscotch being the younger brother, you know. So there's a lot of different fun things you can do with when you're trying to make a cartoon. All right, so I started with that little bean shape. I did an oval. Oops. Okay. Connected the neck. Made arms. Okay. And then I made ears. Okay. The tail. I made her eye shape a little angry. Made a happy kitty face, okay? And then I have to think about what lines will I erase to make it a whole body, okay? So if I were gonna do some different types of clothes, I might not have I would connect these lines right here because wherever they overlap, right? But since I'm gonna make Kiki have a dress, well, a skirt, I would draw the skirt. I would erase the lines that I have here. And let's see. I would add little circles and triangles, a line. All right, so this is my drawing of Kiki, and I'll get back to it later, okay? But I'm gonna go ahead and, since, you know, we're creating a little cartoon that I might make into a comic book, you know, I'm gonna wanna try and create a couple other characters, right? So next I'm gonna start to think about Chell, okay? Since Chell, for me, is another cat character, I have to think about what shapes Chell has that's different, okay? How do I think about Chell that's different? So Chell is a gray cat, and she's got longer fur than Kiki, but not very long fur. She's a very pretty kitty, but she's also thinks that she's the queen of everything. Okay, so really think about the personality that you're trying to capture. Okay, so for me, I think that Chell is very proud, okay? So if I were to draw Chell, I'd still start with that same shape because but I would probably make, because she just always stands very regally and like, I know what's better, all about the world. I am the most important one. That's Chell. All right, I'd start with kind of a similar shape, okay? But some things that will be different, okay? I have to think about what's going to be different. So one thing is that she's going to, if I'm going to make her standing, right? So one thing, she's probably going to be doing something like, I'm the most important one, right? She also, I've heard them called airplane ears. Okay, airplane ears. She kind of puts her ears back all the time. Okay, and she's always looking at everyone with a little bit of disdain. Do you know that word, disdain? So I'm most important. Okay, now I think that that's a little too similar to Kiki's face. So I'm going to do some different things to make her face. I'm going to make her have she's a little bit fatter than Kiki. So I'm going to give her a little bit more sag in her cheeks. Okay. She has a more pointed tail that's floofy. So that's important. I might even also add some fur, some texture to her cheeks. All right. So she also probably has eyebrows that's like, I'm so much more important than everyone else. Yes, of course. Because I'm the most important cat. Okay? So I'm using a lot of triangles when I'm designing her because she's kind of a pointy kitty. She'll use her claws if she wants to. All right. So I think I like this. I think she would be, let's see. I think she'll wear a long sleeve shirt. And for her, I think she would wear maybe some pants. Okay, and I remember when I'm over here, I'm seeing those little spots right there. And wherever I see those lines that I want to change up, there we go. All right. So I think that's a pretty good design for Chell. Okay, so now that I've practiced it, let's see if I can draw her again. Okay, so whenever we're drawing cartoons, remember, we always have to draw them again. Okay, so I started with that bean shape, but this time I made her have a little bit more of a proud little chest. Okay, her little arm is going like that. Okay, sometimes it's easier to draw the lines and then make it look like a little worm. All right, and to make her face different, I'm making her cheeks a little saggy and her ears pointy like airplane ears. Okay, I'm adding lots and lots of triangles to make her look fuzzier and also angrier. And her eyes, I'm going to start off with that shape of disdain, like she's looking down at you. Okay, and then I'm going to add her shirt and her pants. I think for her shirt to add a detail to it. Okay, I'm erasing those lines that overlap that I don't need anymore. Okay, I'm gonna make her have a shirt that says Queen, because, you know, she's the queen. I also think she's probably somebody that would have eyelashes too. All right, now I have Chell. Okay, my last character that I want to draw. So there I have it. I changed up the fur a little bit, so I need to remember when I'm redrawing her that I draw her with 3 triangles. Okay. I'm so excited to see what characters you draw and who you draw for your, like if you're going to be drawing your pets or somebody you know, or what you're going to be doing. I'm so excited. All right. Last one I'm going to design today. Okay, and next on Thursday I'm going to talk about facial expressions and how we draw facial expressions. So Butterscotch, he's a corgi. Okay, so I mean, if you know corgis, they're long, shaped like that. They have still those pointy ears and a snout, right? But then they have short little stompy legs and a little tail like that. Okay, so that's kind of the basics, but since I'm turning Butterscotch up right, okay, there's a couple things I'm gonna need to do. So first of all, Butterscotch is definitely a very bouncy boy. He's very excited and energetic. He wears a handkerchief, so I think that's going to be something that I'm going to have to include in his design. And he has just one little thing right on the side of his face, a little white spot. Okay, so, oops, I should start off with his body. Okay, so his body, even though he's a corgi, I don't really want to draw too long of a body. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to look super weird. Okay. In this, I want them to have like similar sort of starts. Okay. But his arms are definitely going to be shorter. Okay, so I'm starting off with a bit of short square shapes. Okay, short and square. Okay, he's got really big ears. He's got a snout and a big old tongue. Okay, his eyes are pretty happy and friendly. So I think what I'm going to do, I don't like those eyes. I'm going to draw big, nice ovals like that. Okay, and since the tongue is like that, I'm going to need to erase part of that mouth, or that head. And then he's got a little thing on the side of his nose like that. Okay, his ears have floof coming out of them. And he's going to also have some fur on his sides. Okay, and remember how I said that he has a like a handkerchief that he wears? So I'm going to draw that. Okay. And he loves being outside. So I think the other thing he's going to have is I think he's going to have overalls. So when I'm drawing overalls, I'm drawing with rectangles. I'm drawing the circles in the center right here. And then they go all the way down to his little feet, which I'm going to have them roll up. So I'm drawing 2 rectangles there. And then I'm thinking about how I want to erase these parts right here and maybe draw some big pockets. And he has just a little stumper of a tail. So I'm going to draw just a little stumper tail. All right. These definitely are getting inspired by Animal Crossing. Sometimes we just kind of to draw what we like to do, we're like really like into right now. And I guess right now what's happening is I'm drawing a lot of Animal Crossing stuff. But that's okay. I can still make a cartoon like that. We get inspired by different things. So one thing I think I'm going to do to change things up, okay, I like the way this looks, but I think I need his arms to be just a little bit higher up. There we go. All right. There's a butterscotch. Okay. I'm so excited to see what you draw. All right. Let's go ahead. So I have my characters right now. I have Kiki. I have Chell. And now I'm going to draw Butterscotch. Okay, so I started off this time when I drew him, I kind of drew his shape. Maybe his head's a little bit bigger. Okay, and then I drew the legs kind of like little square rectangles. Okay, drew one arm off like that and one arm off like that. I think his head is just a little too high. Okay, so then his ears, I drew these parts of his ears and fluff coming out of his ears. I drew some triangles on the side of his face to make the fur texture. I drew a triangle for his nose, and then two little curves coming off for his mouth. I drew a tongue, and I made sure I'm going to erase where the tongue goes over his face. He has that little mark on the side of his nose. His eyes are ovals. He has a handkerchief, which is like a triangle. And then his overalls that I'm drawing connects all the way from his feet. And he has like the little buttons that go over like that. And then I erase those lines that overlap. Give him a little stomper tail. And have the little lines right there. Okay. Now that I'm that far along, it's time to start coloring. And one thing I might want to do is outline my character in marker and then color with colored pencils or with crayons or something like that. So I have all these pens, markers. Okay. Kiki has a lot of blacks, browns, and oranges. So I'm going to go ahead and outline her in some black and some brown. When we outline, the nice thing is that we can outline and then we can erase anything that, like any pencil marks that we have. So her eyebrows are like bright orange, and I don't have my orange right now, so I'm gonna do it in yellow. I think it's fun to outline in different colors. All right, but make sure you close your marker caps back up nice and tight. I think for her shirt, her skirt is going to be purple. And her shirt here is going to be yellow. All right, once I have her design, I think I might add some. Then I'm going to erase those pencil marks. So when I'm erasing, I put my hand like that, and I erase between my fingers. So that way I don't smudge my paper up. I'm gonna make my paper get all crinkly. All right, now I have a cute kitty. Now I have to find my colored pencils. Markers. Where did I put them? Okay, well, I just misplaced my colored pencils. Silly birdie. Oh well. This is an important thing, is to stay organized in your art space. Don't do what I do. All right. Okay. Well, I have this. I might end up coloring it in with some different markers, because I have markers. This is a nice new set of dollar store markers. Okay, so since I have these, I'll just use these. When I'm coloring in, I want to make sure, even if I'm using a dead marker, like this one's kind of dead, but I can still get a lot of really good color out of it. Let's see. Honestly, almost looks like it's colored pencils. And one thing about drawing Kiki that's hard is because she's got spots all over because she's a tortoiseshell kitty. I want to be able to draw the design and be able to do it again, which that's the hard part about drawing Kiki. All right, I think that's good. Maybe some pink in her ears. Now remember, if you're in a sketchbook, some sketchbooks are totally fine and don't bleed through. But sometimes your sketchbooks might bleed through. Okay, so be careful about that. All right. Now my little queen. My little queen kitty. All right. So I'm going to outline in black since the gray, if I end up just coloring her in with gray, it might not show up as nicely. Okay. So I always want to outline in something that's not going to be necessarily the color I color it in with. That's a little too light. And she has green eyes, so I'm going to color that in. And I leave a little spot on the tops because it's like a highlight. All right, then before I color it in, I want to erase those pencil marks. And you know, my kitty and my drawings of cartoons go pretty fast. And the reason is because I've been drawing for a long, long time. So if you're like, Birdie, you're going too fast, it's okay. Don't worry. You take it at your own pace. Okay? You draw however fast you want to draw. Okay? I'm super excited to be able to create some cartoon characters. So that way, next week or next Thursday, I'm going to be drawing some facial expressions and maybe drawing a little comic with the facial expressions. Okay? So I love drawing comics because comics make me happy. I want to be sure to try and color in those lines. I might leave around the words empty so it's easier for people to see it. I want people to be able to read that, yes, Chell is a queen. When I'm coloring with markers, there's a couple different things I can do. I can draw in circles. And if I draw in circles, then it makes it easier to kind of get some texture in there. And when I'm drawing with the lines, I sometimes like to draw around the edges. And I don't think that she needs the pink in her ears. I want to make sure that I don't create too many lines, so if I want to, I can go back over in a different direction. And that'll clean up some of that. All right, last one, and then we're done for today. All right. Butterscotch is definitely a very orange dog, so I'm going to outline his fur, his ears in orange. I think I'll even draw color in his feet and his, even though that part's going to be white. We'll see how I like that. I might end up making that black. Yeah, I think I'll do this black. Okay, and his bandana is red. And his blue jeans are gonna be blue. I mean his overalls. See, when you outline things, how much easier it is to see it. Now, one thing you have to remember is where you are drawing those lines. Okay, so I'm not gonna outline those pencil marks that I don't want. Oh yeah, I forgot his pockets. Okay. Oh, ears. All right. So I'm holding my paper steady and erasing. All right. Now I'm gonna color in with a little bit of a lighter color than what I had before. You can hear Butterscotch barking. When I'm coloring in with markers, I want to be really sure to color in a whole space pretty quickly, because I don't want to, if I overlap my markers, it's gonna get darker. So I kind of try and keep the shape that I want and color that whole shape in. Even with cheap markers like the ones that I'm using. Okay, because I'm just using the dollar store brand markers right now. I have nicer markers, but I don't want to use them right now. Trying to use stuff that you guys might have lying around. All right. I'm going to color his ears in the darker orange because I think that's kind of a fun color. And then I'm going to color in his bandana since it's like a dark red orange. I'm going to color in his bandana with that. And then color his little tongue in with pink. And then probably light blue for his overalls. All right. Got 5 minutes left. I think we'll be able to finish. I might want to color the pockets in a different color so that they pop. And maybe since I want the pockets to pop to a different color, maybe I'll do the cuffs of his overalls a different color as well. All right. Let's do a dark color. Okay, so now I've created 3 cartoon characters. Oh, this little nose needs to be colored. I've drawn Butterscotch, my corgi. I've drawn Chell, my kitty. And I've drawn Kiki. I drew those characters using simple shapes. Shapes that I could redraw so that I can be able to do this again. Okay? That's a big thing about drawing cartoons. Let me go see if I can have one of our guest comics people come in. I don't see Kiki or anybody else. Oh well. Sometimes Kiki comes and talks to me outside of my studio door. So I don't see her right now though. Oh well. Well, it was so wonderful to draw with you today. I look so forward to seeing your cartoon characters that you've made. Okay? So today, to make our cartoon characters, we really focused on using our lines to create we outlined our characters. We used organic shapes and geometric shapes like ovals and triangles to build our characters, making them nice and simple. We colored in our characters. We didn't necessarily use too much texture, except for when I was trying to create that fur on Chell's. I feel like the way that I drew that makes it have some texture. Okay? I think my favorite is Butterscotch. I'm so excited to see what you create. What characters do you make? What cartoons do you make? And tune in on Thursday and we'll make some emotions with our characters. And then we'll also go ahead and make a little comic book. Just a little 3-panel comic. Okay? So I look so much forward to seeing all of your art on Class Dojo. And yeah, so thanks so much for joining me with Birdy Teaches Art. And I hope that you all learned something today. And I so look forward to seeing your cartoons. Maybe you draw a pet. Maybe you drew yourself. Maybe you drew somebody else's pets, or maybe you drew, I don't know, you're all very creative. I'm sure you did some really fun things. I'm so excited to see them. All right? Goodbye. I miss you all. I love you all. And I will see you on Thursday at 10.